This is a Hope 103.2 podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Troubleshooting. Shammah, hello, how are you?
I am very tired, so we'll see how it goes.
That's not an excuse.
Oh,
Come on,
fantastic.
You'll be fine. Yeah, there we go.
What
Jay-
time did you get up this morning?
Yeah.
I
what time
got
did
up
you get
at approximately 4 a.m.
I understand why you're tired.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You are forgiven.
Jay, how are you?
I'm less tired because I didn't have to get up at 4 a.m. That was great.
Yeah, I had to get up at just after 6 o'clock and I did not want to wake up today.
No.
Yeah, well, anyway. But it's great to have you guys here today. We're going to have a really good conversation about a couple of different topics. I'm going to be talking about something that Apple has been releasing with their WWDC, which is their developers conference, which is going to be something interesting to chat about. Shammah, what are you going to be talking about?
I'm going to be talking about fashion and where
Fashion,
as a
darling.
society...
Let's get our Edna around.
Fashion. Where as a society we're going wrong.
Yep. Everything.
On a tech podcast.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is going to be a bit of a stretch. Let's go. Put on your yoga pants.
And Jay, talking about yoga pants, what are you talking about today?
Not fashion.
Not fashion.
I'm going to be talking about, in a complete 180 turn for me, I'm going to be talking about a time where technology is used for good in a way that violates our privacy a little bit, but like for a good cause. So, you know.
Wow, chaotic good.
Interesting
Good.
angle for me to come at, given generally my angle is just get technology out of your life.
This is very true. I do know that from you. Well, I'm really keen to hear what you've got to say, Shammah.
Alrighty then, I guess we're starting with fashion,
kick us off.
darling.
Yes.
Okay. So there is an undisclosed fashion company here in Australia that has sort of come under a lot of scrutiny because on their website, instead of having models, they've decided to computer generate the images of the people that are wearing the products that they're selling, which is... It's weird because, like, on one hand, sometimes when you're buying stuff online, you just see the garment as itself. But, like, if the intention is to show what it looks like on a person, generating the image is not necessarily, like, the best way to do it, you know? Because it's not going to sit on the computer image naturally.
Sure.
And it's just going to look, you know, too perfect. Like, there's no item of clothing that sits perfectly on a person. And models are there to show, like, a kind of a representation. I mean, okay, yeah, models are like an idealized version of what people look like, but at least they're people.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to clarify a couple of things here. So we're talking about, a fashion brand makes clothes.
Yes.
And are they generating the people or the clothes or both?
So they're generating the clothes onto the people.
Right. So
They're generating the people.
okay.
They've got the clothes as in, like, they're selling the items, obviously.
Yes.
But instead of having a model wear it, they take the clothes,
Yep.
I don't know, store it online somehow.
Sure.
And then generate a model and then put said online stored clothing onto that model.
Okay, so it's like it's like a super beefed up version of Photoshop where you're actually creating the...
You're creating the model and then
okay.
creating the garment onto the model.
Okay, I have a couple of thoughts on this and a couple of points of how do they even make this work right? Because if you... Okay, you mentioned before about the idealistic, like how you would show clothes to sell it type thing. In some sense, I don't think that what they're doing on that website is very different to what's been happening with the fashion industry for a very long time, which is you get the peak example of what this object will look like on a person, and you use that. And Photoshop has been something that's been widely used in this area for a very long time. Speaking of someone who never has worked in fashion nor graphic design, but from my perception of someone on the outside, that's what it looks like. And certainly I wouldn't take a photo of myself wearing a flannel from JJ's and be like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm so great at wearing this. No, you go to
fashion.
No, you go to a proper studio, get proper photos taken, you'd have it touched up and that kind of stuff. So it doesn't seem too different, but...
Okay. Well, that in itself, I think, raises two issues then.
Okay.
Because obviously there is the issue of photoshopping and body image and how it's detrimental, seeing this idealized version.
Yes.
But now you're seeing a version that you literally cannot physically at all whatsoever attain because it's a computer-generated image.
Yeah. Is that very different from what it was before computer-generated?
There is still some degree of truth to what a model looks like.
Sure, they have legs and arms.
Yeah.
Usually a head.
Whereas
unless you're in Maya and they don't have a head on, that freaks me out every time. you're walking through the aisles and you just see these headless mannequins staring at you, which is ironic because they don't have eyes. They can't stare at you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm okay with them not having arms and legs. I feel like that's representing a portion of the population. But the second they're missing a head, I'm out. Sorry.
That's
Too
unrealistic.
far. Unrealistic expectation. I can't meet these expectations.
And you
I can't be without a head.
You certainly cannot be without a being, because that's what these images generated are. It's like it's nothing. You're
Sure.
putting clothing onto nothing, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then at the same time, that also then raises the issue of, if we're then generating images of these models, why do we need models? You know, like now you're getting rid of a whole
Industry.
Yeah.
Welcome
And
to
Where
then-
will
AI.
our pretty people go for jobs moving forward?
Well,
They'll have
that's
to
it.
learn a trade.
Yeah.
And
Oh
then
my
that,
goodness. Hands using things to do things. My goodness. Who
That
would
then ties
think that?
into other industries, because then that means you can make music, you know, artificially. You can make movies
Yes, Sam.
artificially.
Wouldn't that suck for musicians if somebody was making music artificially using computers?
Hey, hold up.
Wouldn't
a
that
second.
suck if somebody who had a bachelor in music was
I was-
spending their time making fake songs?
I was about to say that because I have a degree in music, which is as good as an arts degree.
Look at me, I have a degree. I went to university.
I did for 3 years, and that's how I got where I am today, children.
Sorry, what part of your job do you use your bachelor of music in?
That's irrelevant. I don't know what this was about. Well,
Me making fun of you, that's what
Okay.
it's about.
Yeah,
Right.
we were talking about models.
Sorry, yeah.
Fashion, darling.
Don't
Oh,
turn
we're talking about models. Let's stop talking to Sam. He has no
Oh
idea.
my goodness. Okay, but Shammah, so you were saying, okay, so the idea of how they're generating the images for these products at the moment is it's removing the people from that
It's
part.
removing the people
Yeah,
from it.
it
Like
absolutely
for
is.
as much as you can have issues about photoshopping and all that,
Yep.
there's still people that have to be
Yep.
there to do that. You know, like
But
there's
people still have to
people-
generate the images.
No, I mean in terms of like you can't just generate an image of the item. I mean, okay, now you can, but like before, traditionally you can't just generate the item onto a non-being.
Sure.
You know, so there has to be a physical model. Even if
Yep.
you're going to Photoshop them and edit them and put them in the best lighting and whatnot,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
still
yeah.
physically have to be there. You know?
I do see that there's a line that's been crossed where before, yes, it may have been unrealistic standards because models are models.
Yeah.
But now you're actually going to the realm of it is more like tangibly and physically impossible for anyone, like you said, Shammah, to reach these standards. So how I guess it's the question that I ask from this is like I feel like we always ask this question: when do we stop using technology for certain things? For this one, I would have said removing models is probably where you should have stopped,
Yeah.
because they absolutely would have been using new technologies, AI, to augment the images that they're taking.
Yeah.
They're now just saying, oh, you know what, photo studios are too expensive and models are too expensive. We're just going to do it all on the computer.
And also, like, realistically speaking, looking at the images, I think it makes the product look cheap. Like, you know, it looks like it's just
Sure.
been put onto something. Like, it doesn't look good. I don't think it's good for them as a sales tactic, even if they are saving money by not having to hire a model. You got your product looking cheap now, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's just little things like that sort of add up. And now your customers aren't going to trust you because you are being deceptive in the way that you're sort of portraying everything. Like, there's just so many issues with it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. There is, however, an interesting perspective in all of that, which I know for a fact that certain companies that sell like physical goods that aren't clothes, for quite some time they have not been using physical rooms to photograph those products.
They have been taking the photos outside of space-time?
No.
You said they weren't using physical rooms. What were they using?
Well, they were using a computer. Okay, sure, the computer was in a physical room. Oh, da, 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 da. Yes, but no, they're not setting up a room with the product, with lighting, with a photographer. They're using a virtual environment, something like through Blender, which is a 3D piece of software, or through Unreal Engine, which is again another 3D engine that you can create things in. So they would set it up, light it like that, and then take a photo with the computer and render that as a realistic image.
That okay. I feel like that in itself is a bit but when
Like
it
you
comes
don't care
to,
about that too much.
not really.
Okay.
When it comes to things that do relate to body image and
Yeah. okay,
things that
there's a
you're
difference
buying,
there.
yeah, I think that there is a difference
No, you're
because
right, yeah.
already there are unrealistic standards and expectations that are set on, you know, people as they're going shopping by models, but take away models completely. Now you're saying even the hottest of the hot people aren't good enough, Like, it's just...
Well, I mean, I would disagree because in some way the models have to be based off something.
But no one looks like that. No one has everything.
I mean, Jay's the peak of physical appearance.
Yes. Peak of physical something. I don't know if I call it fitness.
Yeah.
You and me both.
So, interestingly enough, I've actually found an article about the brand in question, which we're not going to name, but we'll just call it a Melbourne-based fashion brand, and you can probably put two and two together and figure it out from there. The brand in question sold this as a net plus. They were basically saying, we designed and sampled this collection as we always do. Once we reach the completed sampling stage, so they've actually made products, and then they create the product photography with a photographer and AI artist.
Oh.
So there is actually real photos of the products being made.
Right.
It's just when it goes on to the artist, obviously the model is not real, but the rest of the article goes on to sell this as it's speeding up the, they've come up with the idea for a jacket.
Sure.
They've designed the jacket. They've figured out materials.
Yep.
And then basically they go, okay, cool, we've got a product. We like this product. Bang, slap it onto an AI model, start selling it, and it speeds up. So they're selling this as a net positive for themselves in that it means that they're able to very quickly speed up the pipeline from product manufacture to sale.
I can see that, and I think in some situations you'd be doing that with other physical products as well. But I come back to where Shammah was saying that this is relating to body image, so it's a bit of a different thing.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of issues just in regards to being deceptive to your customers. You're not getting an accurate representation of a somewhat accurate representation of what the item's going to look like. And then it's basically just saying, even our models aren't good enough for our outfits,
Yeah, but the problem is that you probably wouldn't know what these images are, like most AI-generated content. You don't know if it is AI or isn't AI.
You can tell.
You can tell. Okay.
One thing about this particular scenario is that they were being called out because some of the photos were actually being tagged as this is a computer-generated model, then some weren't. And they were very obviously the same, like it was the same process used for all the photos. So it was I think a lot of the backlash hasn't necessarily been about the use of computer-generated models overall. It's been about the fact that they're pretending that some things were and some things weren't.
Sure.
And so for me, I think that's probably the bigger issue. Yes, body issues, concerns, and concerns about destroying an entire industry by moving it into computers.
Yeah.
But also, we really need to work on some sort of hard line where we go, you have to say this is computer generated moving forward.
Your friend bought a thing from one of those cheap websites.
A friend of mine bought, it was from, I won't say, it doesn't really matter what the brand was. He bought it from a website and it was a photo of a dude wearing what looked like a three-piece suit. So, jacket, tie, and what's the waistcoat or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
Anyway, it looked like that. All the photos had a person wearing a three-piece suit shirt and that's what it was sold as. And then when he got it, it was a T-shirt with a picture of a three-piece suit printed on it.
Quality.
Which, yes, he paid $8 for it, but he was expecting to see something that looked like the photo, not something completely different.
For $8.
Yeah, but you buy cheap stuff, you get cheap stuff.
He wasn't expecting a fantastic suit, but he was expecting something that looked like the photo. And so as soon as the photo is no longer real, where do we draw that line as well? It needs to look like the photo. How do we make sure that the computer-generated photo actually represents reality at this point?
Yeah. Exactly, and that is what I think the issue is with these models, quote unquote, and their images. It's not realistic.
Yeah, well, that's fashion. You just got to
Fashion.
get used to
Fashion,
it.
darling.
Now, changing the topic a little bit, Shammah, I wanted to ask you a question about what phone do you have in your pocket?
Oh, don't ask me that.
You shouldn't. Okay.
Everyone roasts me.
What number? Do you know
No. You don't even have to tell me that. Just is it
it's
an
an iPhone 12.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not judging you. I've already told you to buy a new one, but that's fine.
I will not do that.
That's fine. You're happy with it? No
Stick
questions
it to
about
the
that.
man.
All right. Okay. Whatever. No, that's not how this works. Because you've already. Okay. Whatever. I'm not going down that topic. Okay.
Not all of us can afford a phone with a pen in their pocket.
As I
Putting their phone in
do.
their pocket.
Haha, I'm not an accountant. Okay, so
You're an accountant.
one of the things that I wanted to talk about today from WWDC, which is Apple's like developer conference thing that they do every year, Apple is finally going to get a feature that has been around on Androids for quite some time, which
They always are.
which is always the way that Apple does things. But eventually they catch up, and this feature I think is actually a really, really good feature, which is screen calling.
You can call a
What
screen.
does that mean?
Well,
Can I call a shower screen?
depends.
Is it limited
And
to
like,
computer screens?
Who needs it?
Okay, that is a great question, and you are just being antagonistic, Jason.
What about a chicken screen?
Stop it.
I don't know what a chicken screen is.
It's called part of chicken's coo.
Coup. The chickens are having a coup.
Okay, so
Chicken run all over again.
screen calling or call screening. Call screening.
the word.
That's the word.
Oh, well, that's why. Okay, that makes sense.
Here we
now.
are talking about different screens when really it's about a call. Okay, so
Use your words, Sam.
oh man,
No,
tell you what.
Call
this-
screening makes more sense than
I
screen
look, guys, I
calling.
was up at 6:10. I'm really tired. I just want to finish the pod. No, let's keep on going. I haven't gone. So, call screening is if you receive a call from any number, you can have an option, and I have it on my phone, which is a Samsung phone. You say voice assistant, what a call screen, and it will the phone will answer the call with an AI voice assistant, and it will then say, "Hi, I'm an AI voice assistant. Can you please tell me why you are calling this person?" And then if it's a scam call, they hang up and you never have to talk to anyone. But it's really helpful sometimes because occasionally you get phone calls from people that you don't know who they are and you don't have their number in your phone. It will answer it, and if they're anyway smart or inclined to have a conversation with you, they'll answer it. You see that answer in plain text on your phone, and then you can choose to either hang up on them because you're like, I don't want to speak to Joe today, or you can answer the call and say, hey, sorry, I was just using an AI thingo to make sure that you weren't a scammer.
Yeah, I had no idea what this number was. I have no idea why you're calling me.
I've used it so many times, and it has been legitimately amazing to use. And finally, for Apple iPhone users, that feature will be coming later this year.
Nice.
Which I think is top notch. But my question for you guys is, how are you going to figure out if somebody is talking to you as a legitimate person or if they're fake? If you go.
I just don't answer the phone when people call me.
Oh, okay, sure.
It's really simple. My wife and I just updated our health insurance recently.
Yes.
And she rather annoyingly went to Compare the Market, which is just a lead generation company.
No!
Yeah, cool. The Meerkat ads are funny, but like as soon as you give them your details,
They've got Koshi!
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's where you went.
Anyway, so compare the Meerkat
Compare the meerkat.
from South Africa now. No offense.
I'm not South African. Who are you offending?
1% of our listenership.
So compare the markets. When you put your details in, you have to put your phone and email address in to get the quote that they assemble for you. They called us about 15 times while we were
Yes.
we just wanted the quote. We didn't need to talk to anyone. We didn't need their approval. We just wanted the numbers, and we went and sorted it out ourselves.
And what I'll say is that Compare the Market is not the only company that does this.
No, that's just the one that we happen to use.
Any comparison company or insurance company, for that matter, that you give those details to expect a phone call or a ridiculous amount of emails. It is very frustrating.
And so, my default response was just to hang up on them.
Yep.
Problem solved.
Yep.
But Kel was like, they've called 3 or 4 times. We should probably verify who this is. Unfortunately, she didn't have, for whatever reason, the call screening thing, which works on her phone, wasn't coming up for this number, which I found really odd.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So whatever it is that triggers this could be a spam call, here's the call screening feature. It just didn't come up on her phone. My phone doesn't have that feature anymore, which is really annoying because I would love to have it.
Oh, that's right, because you changed over to graphene, isn't that right?
Yeah.
What the heck is graphene?
It's a non-Google version of Android.
I believe we spoke about this in the previous episode of Troubleshooting, Shammah.
Shows how interesting.
It was yeah, but that's an interesting point. Is that when you try to move away from things like Samsung and Google and Apple,
you do lose some of those features.
You lose some nice features, and I think that this one is a legitimately very useful feature that every phone should have.
Yeah, and look, I can probably get it back onto my phone if I try hard enough, but again, my default policy is if you don't recognize the number, just don't answer the call.
I like to answer
Problem
sometimes.
solved.
Though. I like to see how long I can leave them on before I have actually on some occasions just taken the call and pretended to be an old lady.
There's a bot
Let's
for
hear
that.
it.
I know, but
Let's hear it.
Hello, my name's Janet, and I'm from the Commonwealth Bank Fraud Department.
no, that would
And that worked.
Is Janet calling other people?
She's the scammer.
This is actually what Sam does when he's not recording podcasts
Well,
and
actually,
making fake AI music.
actually,
Yeah.
no.
Music.
Hold up a second. I don't make fake music.
I'm a musician, man.
The
Your computer's
scam-
my instrument.
The scam numbers are outgoing, not incoming.
Yeah, I know that.
The call's coming from inside the
um,
house.
But imagine how confused the scammer would be if they got a call from somebody saying that they're from the fraud department of the same bank that they work
Oh,
at.
that'd be hell funny.
Yeah, wouldn't it just?
It's like, no, I work for the fraud department. How dare you, sir?
Have you seen those?
What's your employee ID?
Not if it's a little old lady.
Janet is the queen.
Little old ladies can work for fraud departments.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like me to help you with your fraud, Shammah?
No. I would hang up.
I wouldn't blame you. Okay. Well, yeah, okay. There's an interesting YouTube channel. I don't remember what it's called, which is great for referencing and telling you people to go and watch it. But there's a bloke who hacks into these Indian-based call centers.
I love that guy.
Yeah, so good. And he pulls up these security cameras and is like, whatever your name is, sitting there wearing your plaid green and yellow shirt, awful colours.
Green and yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and then
Fashion, darling.
That's not a bad combination.
and then the sheer horror and shock on their faces as they realise, oh, they're in the building. And then all the meantime is sitting there deleting all the files in their computers and actually doing a really good service for people by removing these people's capacity to do scam calls.
Yeah.
But you can protect yourself on your phone with call screening. And iPhone users are going to get that very soon, which is super duper cool. I'm cool with that. I think it's a great feature. Thank you, Apple, for being on the same page, finally.
Follow-up question.
Yes.
What does WWDC stand for?
What would Jesus do?
No, that's JD.
What would
what Jesus coup?
I don't know. What does Worldwide Developer Conference? That's what it is.
I did wonder. I was like, worldwide something, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was.
I thought it was
Worldwide.
Disney.
No, it's Apple
Yes, Apple made
Worldwide Disney
a
Conference.
conference.
No.
collaboration.
Collaboration.
Anyway,
Disney should buy Apple. That would be such a great way for these giant superpowers to
Don't give them
melt.
ideas, please.
all iPhones
Right?
just come preloaded
And then
with
eventually
Disney Plus.
Disney
Yeah.
Disney buys Microsoft, and then
Oh my goodness.
everything is all
I
white.
reckon
Microsoft can't be sued for antitrust if they're not the ones committing the antitrust.
if they're one large company, it's just
if there's no competition.
capitalism. All right. Jay, what?
Speaking of capitalism
Oh, I love capitalism.
and horrific overreach. So as I said earlier, my normal drum that I love to beat is the fact that all
you
these
said-
companies...
Are you the musician now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I
Look at
ruined-
me. I am the drummer now. The drum that I like to beat is generally that all technology is bad. All companies that produce technology are probably doing it for their own interest and not yours, and that you should try and remove every single piece of technology from your life.
Amen.
Except for your grandma's pacemaker. Leave that in.
Yeah, look,
Unless
unless.
What?
How much do you like your grandma?
Quite a lot.
Anyway, however, having these computers in our pockets day to day can actually be a bit of a benefit for a lot of people if you trust the companies that own, manage, sell you, license you,
All of those things.
all of those things, the technology that's sitting in your pocket. So Google a little while ago has gone a little bit more public in the fact, and this is just something cool that I've heard about recently, looked into a little bit. A few years ago, they announced that they were building a crowdsourced earthquake detection system.
Ooh.
And so all of our phones, if I'm just going to pull mine out and show it to you, it has an accelerometer in it. And an accelerometer measures the rate of change of velocity, acceleration for the physics nerds. What that actually means for you in real terms is it means that if my phone is ringing and I don't want it to ring anymore, I can just flip it flat onto the table in front of me and it will detect that flip and go, oh, it's been flipped face down, mutes the call.
Huh.
If I tilt my phone sideways, it will give me a notification to allow Bible to send me notifications. That's new. Okay, sure. But it goes landscape because it knows that now the phone is being held sideways. If I hold it upside down, it tilts the screen upside down.
I mean, you take it as a given, but I'm just doing it with my phone now. Like, yeah, it is doing that too.
It's also really helpful to have an accelerometer when you're using your phone for navigation because it can tell what direction you're traveling in and helps, it adds that to the GPS data to figure out speed, velocity. Velocity is speed, sort of. Don't come at me, physics nerds.
I did want to add one actually really useful thing that I think Apple is ahead of in some ways is their crash detection stuff.
Yeah, and that's the accelerometer.
Yeah, exactly. So on the newer iPhones and watches, they come with crash detection. So if you're in an accident, it will automatically call emergency services for you. Anyway, tangent, super cool use of that technology.
So just to kind of give a background of what an accelerometer is and how it works. A cool newish. It's been happening for a few years, but they're kind of, being a little bit more open about it. Google has basically gone, we have 2 billion little accelerometers out there in the world, probably more, but at least 2 billion. We can use that to detect earthquakes.
Wow.
By tracking, basically they detect... I'm not a seismologist, so I'm going to keep this in very simple terms because I don't fully understand it.
Sure.
Earthquakes have a P wave and an S wave.
Ah, yes, the P wave. Go on.
You are such a 5-year-old. The P wave, which can stand for either the primary wave or the
predominant
pressure wave.
Pressure wave.
Oh, dang it.
Peanut wave.
That's detectable, but doesn't really impact you. You don't necessarily notice the P wave going through. The S wave, on the other hand, that's the
Seismic.
problem. Yes.
So
or secondary wave
is this
apparently the other
difference
word.
between somebody staring at you and
Actually, no, not seismic, sorry. Shear wave.
Oh my goodness.
It's all seismic.
You gave it to
took
her.
Me on a roller
you
coaster.
I'm sorry.
I felt so good about myself.
I thought it stood for seismic too.
I felt so good about myself. I was like, wow, seismology. Is that...
No.
Is that what it's called?
That would be Scientology, which has nothing to do with what we're talking
Seismology.
about. Seismology.
Oh, what did I say?
I didn't actually hear it.
Seismology.
Seismology.
I don't know. Listen back to the podcast and you'll hear yourself.
Okay.
So, P wave goes through. If the phone detects what it thinks is a P wave, it will send an alert to they just call it the earthquake detection servers, which just sounds like a gross simplification. But if enough phones in an area detect a P wave and upload that report to the detection, it goes, "Oh, there was probably a P wave here," and it sends you an alert to say there was, and it can measure the size, the spread, by detecting when the alerts were coming through,
the more that you have spread out.
Yeah.
If it starts in one geographical location, then spreads across a fault line.
Yeah.
Then the further it travels, the more phones will start receiving that signal, and then they'll be able to send it to the server.
Correct.
And because of the
they can track the waves.
Yeah, the timestamps of those indications to the server will indicate the travel, the severity, and the
point of origin
conditions of all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Hear me
Hear you
out. If we just got a bunch of people together and shook our phones,
I was actually thinking that. Can we try that?
would that
It probably won't work.
I'm checking my phone right now, Jess.
Because it's about collating massive amounts of data.
Yeah, a whole heap of people where, you put it in the mailbox, hey, on this day at this time.
Yeah, why can't we just
Shake your phone.
why can't we get everyone in Sydney at whatever time, 12 o'clock, to just violently shake their phones and see if we get an alert from Google?
I'm not opposed to it, actually.
I would love to try that.
All right. Will you've got the TikTok following, Shammah. Let's get onto that.
Gosh.
This does remind me of the time that dude chucked a whole bunch of phones, put them all on Google Maps, going to the same destination, and then walked them behind him in a little trolley and blocked up this bridge so that all the cars thought that there's there's really bad traffic, but it was just one dude with a bunch of phones in his pocket. That's the kind of lowjacking you can do with this sort of thing.
That's so good.
We shouldn't have said, for legal reasons, please don't trick Google into thinking there's an earthquake.
All of a sudden, there's a new fault line in Sydney, Australia. It's never existed before, but there's a huge earthquake.
But yeah, so the point of the global network of tiny seismometers...
Yeah.
Yes, that's the word. Basically, it detects the P wave and then sends out a be aware alert because it thinks, hey, there was a light earthquake near you. Be aware, there may be some light shaking.
Yeah.
Or a take action alert, hey, there's a big one coming. I don't know what you do in an earthquake. You can't really run. Do you just jump and wait till it's all over?
No, you're supposed to get between the
Duck
door
and cover,
frames or
hide
you
under
just
a
go
piano.
under a
Find
table.
a rigid part of a building.
You can tell that we don't have earthquakes
I
in
know.
Sydney.
Well, actually, I was.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Talk
no.
to the Kiwi.
Yeah, no, but no.
We don't have earthquakes in Auckland.
Okay. Well, you're no help.
I experienced an earthquake when I was in Japan. I was on a mission trip back in 2013. I don't know, a while ago. Anyway, we were sitting in some regional town in a 150-year-old Japanese house. Beautiful place. And we were sitting on the tatami mats eating our breakfast. And all of a sudden, the entire house just started shaking. And we're all just we're sliding back and forth on the ground. And we're thinking, oh, this is great fun. This is awesome. But no, our teacher, who had been living in Japan for 15 years, freaked out and just ran to the doorway and bolted herself against there. And we were just like, what's she doing? Why is she doing that? And we were just shaking around in the ground.
Yeah.
And it lasted a couple of seconds, 20 seconds maybe.
But she's seen how they can go.
100%. And so we were like, that was fun. And she was like, I'm so sorry. I should have told you what to do. A self-preservation came in and I went to protect myself.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yes, that was a very small earthquake. And this was after the big earthquake that came through and took out this, was it the east coast of Japan?
Wow.
Yeah, that was the nuclear plant. Where was that?
I can think of as Hiroshima, but it definitely wasn't
It
that.
wasn't Hiroshima, no. It was,
That was a different nuclear issue.
Yes, it was a different nuclear incident. This is when, the massive...
I know which one you're talking about,
yeah. So we actually got to see a lot of the aftermath of that as well, which was crazy, just to see these entire towns and villages just swept completely away. Super, super interesting. Bit sad and morbid, but it was very interesting to view. Anyway, having the technology that would allow people to have that pre-warning would be awesome, because I'm actually thinking about that exact situation, because that was an earthquake. That was a big earthquake, mind you, that caused a tsunami. And I don't know if you can get pre-warnings before the actual earthquake occurs, but I'm guessing that this data will probably allow you to do that. And when you tie this data that you're getting from seismic, from accelerometers in phones, and you tie it with AI's amazing ability to discern and look at information and see trends, I wouldn't be surprised if there are very, very accurate early warning systems that exist from this data and the use of AI, which I don't like the overreach of organizations using this data without necessarily having absolute upfront transparent approval from their user base. But I think it is an amazing tool that they have been able to develop. And this is one of the things that corporate entities having such a large amount of devices and ownership over that data and having artificial intelligence, those are things that I'm legitimately on board for, because I think that they were just an amazing development for humanity and the ability to look after people.
100%. And that's why I wanted to bring this up, because A, this is just a really cool usage of technology, but B, I feel like a lot of people would be a lot more comfortable with some of the perceived and actual overreach that's happening with our privacy if they had a better idea of what it was used for. And accelerometer data doesn't, on its own, doesn't really mean anything. It's just a whole bunch of plus and minuses and measuring gravity and all this other thing. But again, you table that with other data and you can come to some pretty cool conclusions. And then, as we discussed last time, you can come to some horrifying conclusions about people when you get enough of their data together.
Strava.
Exactly.
Yes,
So,
I was about to say that some people might be able to interpret that information because it's an accelerometer. It carries momentum as well in some extent and direction. So you could potentially track somebody's walking pattern with this data.
Yeah,
So-
well, and again, the accelerometer would be used when you're tracking your runs with Strava.
Yeah.
But, it's
in collaboration with GPS, but that's how you really track your location.
Yeah.
Accelerometers aren't an amazing tool to use for actual directionality.
It's part of the picture.
Yes.
But so I guess where I'm landing with this one is, hey, this is a really cool use of technology. This is a good reason for everyone to have a tiny accelerometer in their pocket. And it'd be really good if we had more usages like this that weren't, yet another leak broadcasting our email addresses and Qantas frequent flyer points all over the internet.
Out of all three of us, I'm actually I think we've had a great conversation today with fashion.
Fashion darling.
Fashion darling, and with Apple finally bringing something on board that is actually useful. I mean, Apple does useful stuff, but finally something that's really useful.
The only thing they've ever done that's ever been useful.
They've been very...
Call screening.
That's not the only thing. That's not what I said. And finally... computers being actually useful and phones being useful for more than just spying on us and actually protecting people is good. It's very good. I'm on board with all of these things.
So you're on board with the CGI models?
No. And with that, we are going to have to conclude this episode of Troubleshooting. It has been great to have you with us today. Thank you, Shammah and Jay, and me, Sam, for having our
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you,
Thank
me.
you, Shammah.
Thank you.
For having
Thank
our...
you, me.
Thank we.
Oh, my goodness. A reminder for you, the listener, if you want to leave a suggestion for a topic for us to cover, you can do that in Spotify. You can go to the comments and you can leave a comment. We will read that and we will see if it's something that we can put into the podcast. And if you want to, you can go to the hope1032.com.au website, go to the podcast page, find Troubleshooting and leave us a comment there. And while you're there, you can check out some really good podcasts from Hope 1032. They have some great shows on there that you can listen to anytime you would like. But look, guys, that is the end of the show from us. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you. You will hear us on the next episode of Troubleshooting.
Hope 1032. Thanks for listening.